Hello, everybody. My name is Srinath Reddy. Like I said, I'm the host of today's webinar. I'm one of the founders and CEO here at Intentwise. And, this is another episode of our webinars. And what we do with this type of content is, our objective is to really share our learnings and also get experts like Crystal so we can all get educated together. So quick logistics on today's webinar. We will have a Q&A session at the end. And what will be helpful along the way is feel free to go ahead and type your questions in the Q&A box. And we'll hopefully get to all of them. And if we don't, we'll definitely follow up and get you get your responses. And then there will be a recording of the session, and we will share that out, a couple of days after the webinar is done. Along the way, there's a couple of polls we're going to run just to get a pulse for your own exposure to AMC and the types of content, the types of campaigns you run. So that's just logistics. And now, in terms of what we're doing today, so today, we're going to do a deep dive on AMC. AMC is a hot topic these days, and I today have the pleasure of hosting Crystal Astrakhan. She is the Principal Technical Product Manager from Amazon. Crystal, good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for inviting me.
Could you take a moment and just share with us your background, please?
Sure. I'm Crystal Astrakhan. I'm a product manager with Amazon Marketing Cloud. And I've been with Amazon Ads for 5 years and started off on the analytics team. I was an analytics consultant in-house in Amazon for advertisers. And one of the products I used to answer advertisers' questions was AMC. So I was one of the first users of Amazon Marketing Cloud and trained my colleagues on the analytics team to use AMC and developed a passion for it, and then was recruited by the product team to join AMC officially as a product manager. So I've been in that role since late 2020 as a product manager for AMC and been working with AMC since early 2020. So one of my favorite things to talk about at Amazon. So I'm really looking forward today, and especially working with Srinath because I love his approach to not only teaching you how to, or showing you the insights he gets, but also teaching you how to get the insights yourself.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for that intro. Love the background, the fact that, been with this progression right from the beginning. And I'm going to share my screen for a moment here and talk about today's agenda. And if you do not see my screen, just let me know, but I think at this point you should be able to. So today's agenda, broadly speaking, we're going to tag team and, we'll do a little bit of switcheroo a couple of times. So please be patient with us. If there's any technical glitch, we'll get it right. But agenda for today really is Amazon Marketing Cloud overview, and Crystal will lead that. As part of that, she's going to be talking about capabilities, data. I shouldn't use the word data, signals, and as well as future roadmap items. So that's what Crystal is going to do, and then I'm going to take over and talk about what excites us about the types of signals AMC is making available, the use cases, potential use cases, and how Intentwise thinks about those use cases. And then as an organization, whether you're a brand or an agency or an aggregator, how do you make the most out of AMC? What's necessary? And what is Intentwise doing to help with that? So that's the agenda. And, I'm going to have Crystal share her screen, but as she does that, what we want to do here is run a quick poll to get a sense for where our audience is in terms of exposure to AMC. So please take a moment, answer the poll while Crystal takes control of the screen share.
So thanks for joining us today. Today, I'll be providing an overview of Amazon Marketing Cloud, otherwise referred to as AMC, and that is Amazon Ads clean room solution. And it enables holistic analysis and rich insights over your Amazon ads and your own signals. Then Srinath will follow up with a deep dive to cover his solutions and his use cases, and we'll share some time at the end for some Q&A also. So specifically today, I'm covering the product overview, And then I'll go over solutions deep dive and discuss features and signals in depth, and then go over areas of investment, which is a fancy way of saying upcoming product features. All right, so for product overview, I'm going to start first with a brief overview on the current landscape of the ad industry and where AMC fits into all of that. All right, so we're all aware that an advertising experience is going through a lot of changes now, and the trends include the increasingly diverse choices of media and a more dynamic shopping journey with multiple devices and changes to ad addressability demand. And because of this, advertisers and agencies and partners that serve them have to adapt and invent. According to studies by Forbes and Deloitte, we've seen that 48% of marketers are seeking quality data for a more connected view, and 84% are under pressure to prove return on marketing spends. And Epsilon's study among mid to large enterprise marketers shows that 67% of them are very concerned about the changes, and specifically with the ad identity space. And given all these trends, our advertisers and partners need solutions that can help them to stay relevant and competitive. And that includes offering quality signals from publishers and advertisers to help maximize the value of the marketing signals. And we're looking to provide a holistic view of audiences, including their path to conversion, and then ensure privacy-forward practice of measurement and planning to help inform the overall insight, discovery, and decision-making. And that's where AMC comes in. AMC is part of the Amazon Ads Tech Suite, Ad Tech Suite, and that's a set of solutions that help you as advertisers and agencies to achieve a greater level of sophistication in your planning, purchase, measurement, and optimization of your ad investment. With AMC, you can access it through the web UI, which is what's shown here on this slide, or via the API. And it's a clean room, and I'll go into what that means later. It's a clean room designed to help you analyze your investments across multiple channels. And those channels include sponsored ads, display, video, and audio. And you can also use AMC to generate holistic insights that will help you to inform your marketing decisions. So here's some examples of the different event level signals that come into AMC, including impressions and clicks and conversions from all of the Amazon owned and operated properties. And you can see here they span across a wide range of ad formats such as display, video, streaming TV, and audio. And we also have various Amazon store types such as Amazon.com, Whole Foods Market, and Fresh. And together, all the signals together help you to gain that in-depth understanding of your campaign performance and help you understand audience analysis and media optimization. So going back to the clean room, you have the option to upload your own signals into AMC and join them with Amazon signals. And this helps you to unlock additional insights. So when you're uploading your signals, it's really important to remember that AMC only accepts pseudonymized signals, and all that information, your AMC instance that you're uploading, is handled in strict accordance with our privacy notice. So your signals that you're uploading are secure in AMC. When you're uploading signals, we've seen advertisers use this feature to understand overlap between their audiences that they have and those engaged with the Amazon ads campaigns. So for example, you can add your direct-to-consumer sales information from your own CRMs, and then add that into your AMC instance to help you understand the contribution of Amazon media to those conversions that you have brought into AMC. This slide here is a lot of information, and it's provided to you so you can see examples of some of the dimensions and metrics that are available in AMC. So we have events, which are concrete engagements and actions on your ads. So one event, for example, could be a view, one view, or one click. And dimensions are attributes that allow you to group metrics. So an example would be campaigns or devices. And the metrics are what you quantify, and they're measurable. So for example, you can evaluate the sum of views or the conversion rate over your device type, such as mobile, tablet, or TV. And as mentioned earlier, with that signal upload option, you can understand the overlap between your audiences and those engaged with your Amazon ads campaigns. And then you can also upload your D2C sales into your AMC instance, as mentioned before. But another common use case is what we've seen advertisers do is product mapping. So if you have a list of your ASINs or other product information, such as UPC to ASIN mapping, you can add that into AMC and then join that in your AMC environments that you can do additional analysis using your own categorizations of your products. Now, to really get started using AMC, what helps most advertisers is thinking about what are the use cases. And that's why we built the instructional query library, and I personally worked on that. And it helps you to get started to just understand here are the use cases, this is what's possible with AMC, and it's directly available in the web-based UI. And each instructional query contains pre-populated SQL code and instructions for how to customize that. And you can find description of the business context to determine if that's a use case that would be valuable for you. And then even detailed instructions on why we wrote the SQL in a certain way and how to modify that SQL for your use case. And then we also provide example data that comes out in the CSV and how to interpret that output as well. So looking at how AMC fits into the bigger picture with Amazon's ad tech suite, you can think of our ad tech suite as a set of technology solutions that are all interconnected and interoperable with each other. And there are three components that all work together, which is unify, analyze, and activate. And that unify stage is primarily happening within AMC, where we have all the signals sourced from the DSP, sponsored ads, and seismic ad suites all together, and also your own uploaded signals. And then the analyze layer, it will be composed of the studies and reporting functions from the Amazon DSP and the ads console. And then AMC fits in there as the advanced measurement and insights tool. And we also have other AWS functions that would support additional visualization. And the activate stage, that represents the stage where you already have the insight, and now you want to take an action on that and activate it. So this can involve audience creation, media buying, or other campaign optimizations, any actions that you're taking in the DSP, in the ads console for sponsored ads, or from Seismic Ad Suite. Now, in terms of area of investments, we have three key areas that we're focusing on over the next few quarters. And first, for signals. You already saw a lot of the signals we have. We'll be closing the loop with ad products and bringing in sponsored brands into AMC, and also keywords for both sponsored products and sponsored brands. That will come in Q1 of next year. In terms of ease of use, I mentioned before, instructional query library has primarily SQL queries today, but we're working on making AMC easier to use for the top use cases, so that instead of editing a SQL query, you can just populate the parameters into a form and click run, and the query runs without even seeing the query itself. So we think this feature would open up AMC to a new persona that of business users who maybe prefer not to use SQL to get insights, but know what insights they want from AMC. And then finally, we're always investing in our partners. That's a big area for us with our trainings and with other tools that help our partners, such as Intentwise, to enable our advertisers to get insights from AMC. All right, so this ends my session. I know we have another poll now. Yeah. And then, yes, so I'll let you take over the screen share right now.
Well, yeah, and before I do that, I'm going to say yay to sponsor brands.
What part of sponsor brand specifically are you looking forward to?
No, just, I mean, I think, well, it's all the different campaign types, right? So video in particular, and
SBV, right?
yeah, keywords, product targets. It's just, I mean, even the basics, right, on sponsor
Right.
brands, especially as we look at path to conversions, and I feel like that's a missing piece at the moment.
Right.
Right.
Great.
So yeah, so thank you so much, Crystal.
Yeah,
That was
thank
awesome.
you.
What I am going to do is I'm going to take control back, but before I start my piece, a couple of things. One, there is a Q&A option. Please make sure you enter your questions there so we can take them all when I'm done with my presentation. Yeah, just use the Q&A option instead of the chat option if you have questions. And again, we'll have time at the end to address them all. So now, before I take over, there's just one more poll that we'd like to run. Give me 1 second. And this is just to understand kind of what, where do you spend your money today in terms of ad types. So let me launch this. And while you respond to that, I'm going to share my screen. So Crystal obviously covered some roadmap items and at a high level from an infrastructure standpoint, where does AMC fit in to the broader Amazon ecosystem? What I'm going to walk you through is one, like what gets us excited about the signals and the data that AMC is making available. I'll also walk you through some specific use cases. These are sample use cases, obviously, and how we think about use cases in the different buckets of use cases. And then we'll end with, what does it take to get the most out of AMC and how are we helping the ecosystem today? So that's what I'm going to cover. And I'm going to get a little bit in the weeds here. So if you, what excites us about the signals that AMC makes available is the grain of the data that is being made available. So what you're seeing here is actually specific tables within AMC. And one of the things you'll notice is a field called user ID in every table. That represents a shopper. And then you've got all the events, and Crystal referred to events before. Events can be an impression, a click, a conversion. And because of the grain of data, what this allows us to do is stitch together patterns of shoppers' experiences. What have they touched first? What have they touched next? And even pull together, for instance, like different cohorts, right? How does the audience that get exposed to DSP and sponsored ads behave from a metric standpoint versus the ones that just get exposed to DSP or sponsored ads? And this is one of tons and tons of use cases, but it starts to allow us to get away from this last click attributed view we have lived in and really get to a much richer view of what really is going on. Right. So that is what excites us about AMC. It's the granularity of data, and it's the shift in paradigm of how you measure outcomes, especially around your advertising metrics. Now, what does all this mean? How does it translate to actual actionable use cases? So here's where I want to share Intentwise's perspective on how we think about use cases. Broadly speaking today, and this list could evolve, but we bucket use cases that we are extracting for our clients into these 5 broad buckets. And I'll quickly touch on each of those, and then I have a bunch of slides to show you some examples under each. Incrementality, and this goes to the core question of what impact is my ad spend having in terms of driving truly incremental sales, acquiring truly incremental customers. So that's the bucket called incrementality. Audience discovery is self-explanatory. So whether you're running sponsored display or DSP, figuring out these new audiences that you could be going after, AMC is pretty powerful in that regard. Multi-touch analytics, and there's a lot that you can talk about in multi-touch. Changing attribution model from last touch to first touch to understanding paths to conversion, just What are those sequence of touches, whether that's by device, campaign type, campaign, that all falls under the multi-touch attribution, multi-touch analytics bucket. Campaign optimization is more block and tackle. Hey, what should I set my exposure frequency or my frequency cap on DSP campaigns? Or, what is that time to purchase or time decay? And how can I use that in optimizing my remarketing campaigns, or how do I think about my loyalty program? So that's more the nuts and bolts of like turning levers on your existing campaigns. And last but not least, customer insights. This is where we are talking about customer lifetime value, cost of customer acquisition. For those of you that may have been in the 3P universe, so you could get to some of this data because there is some hashed buyer ID information from Seller Central. But if you're in the 1P universe, there's just no way to do this in the past, but AMC starts to allow us to do that. So broadly, those are the 5 buckets of use cases. And I'm going to go through some examples. And while I'm here, let me quickly answer a question that came up. Does Intentwise allow you to go execute these use cases and get data sets out? Short answer, yes, but I'll touch on that more towards the end of the presentation. So let's just walk through some sample use cases, okay? So incrementality. One net new incremental use case that you can execute with AMC, which you cannot do without AMC, is like understanding new to brand performance and new to brand metrics on sponsored product campaigns. The reality for most of us who do sponsored product campaigns, about 60 to 70 to 75% of our money goes to sponsored products, but there's no way today to know new to brand metrics on it. AMC can get us that, right? So that's an example under incrementality. Multi-touch or path to purchase. Under multi-touch, path to purchase by campaign type, super interesting use case. On the left are the different paths. SP stands for sponsored products, SD is sponsored display, DSP is DSP. And then now you can tell why I got excited about sponsored brands being made available, because that completes the story. But on the left are paths and the number of touches, and on the right are metrics around like different purchasers, overall performance, so on and so forth. Again, you are able to construct this view through AMC. So this is one example. Here's another simple example around multi-touch with DSP, which is, hey, what's happening to DSP only versus sponsored products versus both together? Is that performance difference, and does that change the way you look at your DSP media? And so that's another use case. Another one, I love this, is first touch versus last touch. And you can do multi-touch also, right? As you can imagine, we have lived in this first touch, last touch universe for a bit. But with AMC, at a campaign level, you can see, hey, does my view of performance of a campaign change if I switch to a first touch view, first touch attribution? I will say this in a use case like this. What's actually interesting is to go after scenarios where there are big differences. This still doesn't tell you whether this is good or bad, but it starts to isolate for campaigns where performance or the read of your read on performance could be different if you change the attribution model. But here's another example that we could execute and extract data at a campaign level. Campaign optimization. Frequency caps is a lever, right? One of the things you can do with AMC is literally build a histogram or look at what's happening to sales by different frequency of exposures, and use that to define, what you want to use as setting on your DSP campaigns. So that's under campaign optimization. Time to purchase down from minutes to hours to days. You could really see that a decay in performance over time. Again, you could use this in the way you structure your remarketing campaigns, for example. And so, yeah, so these are like a few examples of kind of different use cases under the different buckets. Of course, for those of you that are interested in knowing all the possibilities, we'd love to connect outside of this webinar. And I let Ryan on my team share links to schedule time or express, just connect with us. He'll do that through the chat. But these are the use cases. Now, the real question also is, I'm pretty sure each of you is at different gradations of adopting AMC as a practice. Here's a few key points I'd like to make as you think about AMC, because there's a lot that is ahead of us around the capabilities with AMC. Number one, I think that thinking about AMC as a reporting tool where you get a dashboard and that's it. I think that is shortchanging the possibilities with AMC. So we think of AMC as truly an exploration tool. Yes, dashboards are important, but to us, that is just a starting point. And the moment you look at a dashboard, you'll have 10 more questions. And the only way you can get to those questions is you have the muscle and the process in place to go explore, truly explore data, right? So that's an important point to keep in mind. The other thing that's important is to have hypotheses and questions you want to go ask. And I've said this multiple times in different conversations. It is important to frame interesting, impactful questions upfront. And the richer those questions are, the more you can get out of AMC. Experimentation. I just showed you a slide around first touch versus last touch. It's interesting, but when you find campaigns where first versus last touch is fundamentally different in terms of performance, what do? Your next logical path actually is to run experiments on those campaigns, right? So a lot of times what we find is the insight you get from AMC leads you to a hypothesis that you still need to go test, okay? So that experimentation discipline is extremely important. And last but not least, SQL. Like the reality is the interface today, the primary interface is through SQL now. Like Crystal mentioned, they're going to continue to enhance your ability to access that data and perhaps give you a wizard form of interaction. But I really do believe that having SQL skills on the team will just put you in a better place. Not because you need to go write SQL, maybe you will not have the time to do it, but knowing what SQL is at a basic level opens your mind to what the possibilities are, and you just end up asking better questions of whoever the partner is, whether that's an internal employee or an external partner like us. So I think it's helpful to have an understanding of SQL. I also know that Crystal and team are going to do a bunch of things in 2023 to help with this. But these are, I think, the core tenets around AMC in terms of what you could be thinking about to make the most of it. The question is, what is Intentwise doing about all this? What we do boils down to kind of three areas. One is we have a solution called Intentwise Analytics Cloud. For quite a few of you, know us as an ad tech platform. And yes, that is true. We have an ad optimization offering. Intentwise Analytics Cloud is one of our newest analytics-focused offering, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. But you can think of it as this out-of-the-box data infrastructure that is collecting and connecting with all the Amazon data sources. And by that, I mean sponsored ads, DSP, Seller Central, Vendor Central, and lately, Amazon Marketing Cloud, and bringing it all together for you in an automated fashion, right? So, but I'll touch on that more, but that's a product offering we've got. So that's one. The second is from an analytics services perspective. A question was asked earlier, like you will have a use case for which a SQL has to be framed, right? And authored. This is an area we can really help. Our teams are in the weeds with AMC every day, working with Crystal and team around, hey, is this the right SQL? What does this column mean? What does that table mean? So we just, that's happening every day with a dedicated team on our side. So we can help author SQL to support your use cases, right? So that's the services offering we have. Now, as part of that, we're also building dashboards for your entire Amazon channel, not just AMC, but sponsored ads, DSP, Vendor Central, Seller Central, so on and so forth. But that is the analytics offering. And then the third piece is education. Obviously, this is a forum, right? This is one of many things we will do in terms of education. One of the things we had already done is we created a self-serve SQL training module. Ryan, do me a favor, please share the link in the chat. If your team members or you want to learn SQL and you have not gone through this before, please sign up. We have simplified the process of learning SQL. Typically, if you want to learn SQL, you have to download a database, download a SQL editor, and all of that. We have taken all that pain away. You just sign up in the form, in the link that Ryan just shared with you. If you're not the right persons, people on your team should sign up. You will get an account and you can follow our video and actually type SQL, start typing SQL and learn. It's a bit of a hands-on learning experience. So we've done that already from a generic SQL perspective, but our goal in 2023 is to do that with specific Amazon Marketing Cloud related tables and schema. But again, a product offering through Intentwise Analytics Cloud, a services offering, and education. These are the three ways we are trying to support this ecosystem. A little bit about Intentwise Analytics Cloud. I won't read the bullets, I'll let you read the bullets, but the way to think about Intentwise Analytics Cloud is that it is a mechanism to help you collect, own, enrich, visualize and act on all your Amazon data, right? We have automated the data collection. We have integrations into all the industry standard data warehouses, including Amazon's Redshift. We have connections into visualization tools so that you can quickly be up and running with the visuals you need. What this platform does, Intentwise Analytics Cloud, is it is the underlying out-of-the-box data plumbing. And so our mission with the offering is to really help you get accelerated on your data and analytics strategy, because I think that is kind of the new paradigm as we go into 2023 to stay competitive. And it is applicable whether you're a brand or an agency or an aggregator, and we're working with a number of them today. But that's Intentwise Analytics Cloud. That ends my presentation, and I'd love to get into Q&A mode. While we do this, if you want to reach out to us, Ryan is going to share with you a landing page to kind of submit a form or set up time with us. And if you want to reach out to me directly, it's srinath@intentwise.com. And certainly follow us on LinkedIn, follow our podcasts, YouTube channels, so on and so forth.